Fire is the greatest discovery in human history. But in the 20th century, humans discovered a force millions of times more powerful than fire. Nuclear energy, a power that can turn cities like Hiroshima and Nagasaki into living hells in an instant. Yet, it can cure deadly diseases like cancer. It can increase crop production to feed billions of people. Just think, whose hands hold the reins of this terrifying and incredible power? Who ensures that this energy is used only for human good? Is any country secretly building nuclear bombs? Are nuclear power plants safe? Or how can knowledge of the atom be utilized for human welfare? Is there any global organization to oversee all of this? Yes, there is. While many may have heard their name, very few know about the vastness of their work. They are the International Atomic Energy Agency, or IAEA. Throughout today's episode, we will hear the story of this mysterious and highly influential organization. We will learn how they were born, exactly what work they do, and why their importance in today's world is greater than ever before. To start the story, we must go back to the end of the Second World War, August 6th and 9th, 1945. America dropped nuclear bombs on the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. For the first time, the world saw the monstrous form of the atom. In moments, the two cities were literally reduced to dust. Millions of people died. Those who survived carried the curse of radiation. The war ended, but a new fear descended upon the world. The fear of the nuclear bomb. The Cold War began. On one side was America. On the other, the Soviet Union. Both superpowers built up massive stockpiles of deadly nuclear weapons. The world seemed to be sitting on a powder keg. Any misunderstanding or a small spark at any moment could have destroyed the entire human civilization. In this terrifying situation, on December 8, 1953, then U.S. President Dwight D. Eisenhower delivered a speech at the United Nations General Assembly that changed history. This speech is known as Atoms for Peace. In his speech, Eisenhower said that nuclear energy cannot be used solely for destruction. He proposed the creation of an international organization whose job would be to ensure that nuclear energy is diverted from military sectors and used for human welfare. He said that nuclear-armed nations would deposit their uranium and other radioactive materials with an international agency. This agency would then help various countries use those materials for peaceful purposes, like research, agriculture, medicine, and electricity generation. Eisenhower's speech was the first light in the dawn of the nuclear age. It was a revolutionary proposal amidst the culture of fear at that time. While the world was trembling in fear of nuclear war on one side, a path opened up on the other to use the immense potential of the atom for the good of humanity. Based on this speech, after 4 long years of discussion and debate, the International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, officially began its journey on July 29, 1957. Its headquarters was established in Vienna, Austria. Although the organization is not part of the United Nations, it reports directly to both the UN General Assembly and the Security Council. As a result, the IAEA enjoys an independent identity and special powers. The work of the IAEA can be primarily divided into 3 major categories. These 3 categories are called the 3 pillars. Based on these 3 pillars, the organization strives to fulfill its main goal: atoms for peace and development. This is the IAEA's most well-known and perhaps most important task. Simply put, the IAEA is the world's nuclear watchdog. Their main responsibility is to ensure that no country is secretly manufacturing nuclear weapons under the guise of peaceful nuclear energy use. How do they do this? For this, there is a historic treaty named the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, or NPT. According to this treaty signed in 1968, Apart from the countries that already possessed nuclear weapons, such as America, Russia, Britain, France, and China, no other country can newly create nuclear weapons. On the other hand, countries without nuclear weapons will have the right to use nuclear technology for peaceful purposes, such as electricity generation. The IAEA's job is to ensure the implementation of this treaty. Every country that signs the NPT is obliged to allow the IAEA to inspect their nuclear facilities. The IAEA inspectors are highly skilled scientists and engineers. They can conduct surprise inspections at any country's nuclear reactors, uranium enrichment plants, and laboratories. Now the question is, what do they do once they are there? First, balancing the books. They take an accurate account of nuclear materials like uranium and plutonium. A meticulous analysis is done of what amount of material is entering the plant and what amount is leaving. Even the slightest discrepancy does not escape their eyes. Then there are seals and cameras. They affix special types of seals on warehouses containing sensitive equipment or materials. If this seal is broken, a signal is sent to the IAEA headquarters. Additionally, they install cameras in critical areas of the facility for 24-hour surveillance. Inspectors collect soil, water, or air samples from inside and around the facility. Lab testing of these samples can reveal if any secret nuclear activity is taking place there. The IAEA is at the center of international tensions regarding the nuclear programs of Iran and North Korea. The responsibility of finding out whether Iraq had weapons of mass destruction was also once on the IAEA's shoulders. Because of their nuclear espionage, the spread of illegal nuclear weapons around the world has been kept largely under control. For this work, the IAEA and its then Director General Mohammad El-Baradei were awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 2005. The power of the atom is as dangerous as it is beneficial. Even the slightest accident at a nuclear power plant can invite a horrific disaster. Accidents like Chernobyl and Fukushima remind us of that fact. The IAEA's second task is to ensure nuclear safety. They establish strict safety standards for nuclear facilities worldwide. When a country wants to set up a nuclear power plant, the IAEA helps them from start to finish. For example, creating safety guidelines. The IAEA researches with experts from all over the world to create detailed safety guidelines for the design, construction, and operation of nuclear power plants. At the request of various countries, the IAEA sends teams of experts. These teams thoroughly review the safety systems of nuclear power plants and provide advice on where improvements are needed. This is called a safety review mission. Furthermore, the IAEA helps countries prepare for how to deal with a nuclear accident if one occurs. After the Chernobyl and Fukushima accidents, the IAEA played a key role in data collection, radiation monitoring, and controlling the situation. Not just accidents, it is also their job to ensure the security of nuclear materials. That is, they ensure that no radioactive material falls into the hands of terrorists. Because if terrorists get their hands on even a small amount of plutonium or highly enriched uranium, they could create a dirty bomb, which is capable of creating horrific panic and disaster in a city. The IAEA provides technical and legal assistance to countries to secure their stockpiles of nuclear materials to combat this risk. Hidden within the IAEA's name is its third and most hopeful task: Atoms for Peace. The organization was born to spread the knowledge of the atom for human welfare. Under this pillar, the IAEA works to deliver the peaceful use of nuclear science across the world, especially in developing countries. This work is so diverse that it is surprising to hear. For example, cancer treatment. Radiotherapy is an essential part of cancer treatment, but this technology is extremely expensive. Through its Program of Action for Cancer Therapy, PACT, the IAEA helps establish cancer hospitals, train doctors and technicians, and supply radiotherapy machines in developing countries. As a result, millions of cancer patients get the opportunity for modern treatment. Then there is agriculture and food security. It is possible to bring about a revolution in agriculture using nuclear technology. The IAEA teaches countries how to use radiation to develop new crop varieties that can withstand drought or salinity and are less prone to disease. Additionally, there is a fascinating technique called the sterile insect technique. In this method, a massive number of male insects, such as harmful fruit flies or tsetse flies, are produced and sterilized using radiation in laboratories. Then they are released into nature. Even if these sterilized male insects mate with female insects, no new insects are born. Consequently, the reproduction of harmful insects in that area stops completely without any pesticides. Then there is water management. Many countries in the world are suffering from a crisis of clean water. Using a nuclear technique called isotope hydrology, the IAEA helps locate underground water sources, determine their age and quantity, and find out if the water is being contaminated. Through this, it has been possible to find water sources even in dry regions like deserts. Furthermore, nuclear isotopes are used as tracers to know whether ocean water is becoming acidic or how industrial pollution is mixing with the sea and harming biodiversity. The IAEA uses this technology to help environmental scientists in their research. Therefore, the IAEA is not just a watchdog for nuclear bombs. They are, at the same time, a doctor, a farmer, an animal specialist, and an environmental scientist. This aspect of their work often remains unknown to us. In today's world, the IAEA's role has become much more complex and important than before. On one hand, as the world seeks to reduce carbon emissions due to climate change, nuclear power is emerging as a clean and reliable alternative. Many countries are leaning towards building new nuclear power plants. The IAEA has to ensure that this expansion happens safely and securely. On the other hand, geopolitical tensions are rising. Some countries are suspected of secretly trying to build nuclear weapons. The IAEA has to continue its inspection work by handling this political pressure with extreme skill. Depending on their reports, the UN takes tough decisions like imposing sanctions on a country. The risk of nuclear terrorism is also a major challenge. Nuclear material falling into the hands of terrorists means a terrible disaster. The IAEA is helping to install detectors and train security personnel at airports, seaports, and borders around the world to detect radioactive materials. So, what is the International Atomic Energy Agency, or IAEA? They are that invisible force working from behind the scenes to ensure that the incredible power of the atom does not become the cause of our destruction, but is used to build a beautiful and healthy world for our future generations. Their work is difficult, risky, and sometimes controversial. But without them, this nuclear world would perhaps have become much more dangerous and uncertain. The next time you hear about nuclear energy, do not just think of its destructive power. Think of the IAEA as well. Think of those thousands of scientists, engineers, and diplomats who are silently working every day to keep this world a little safer.